Say temptation in different forms. Now, many people, when they think of temptation, they only think of adultery, to be very honest. When they think of temptation, because that went through your minds, I know, I can tell that. The moment I said temptation, you thought of the opposite sex. Especially the men in this place. And all the women said, no, Pastor, that can't be. The moment you say temptation, you're thinking of $1 million. The moment you say temptation, you're thinking of a great pit in front of you that you're going to sink into. The moment you say temptation, you're thinking it's pornography. The moment you say temptation, you think it's robbing or stealing. The moment you say temptation, you think it's this, that, and the other. No, my precious people of God, that is temptation, but actually what I mentioned now is actually called sin, not temptation. There is a difference between temptation and sin. Oh. Adultery is a sin. Fornication is a sin. Theft is a sin. But they are not temptations. Temptation is the step before you fall. Temptation is when God says to Cain, sin lieth at the door. It's playing knock-knock games with you. That's when temptation hits. You haven't fallen into sin, but you are living in temptation. Did you get that? A lot of people fail to recognize temptation when it comes. When you hired the secretary, let's move to another point. No, let's stay on that. When you hired the secretary, did you smell temptation? Because what comes before sin is temptation. Now, saying all of that, even if you are not an adulterer this morning, even if you are not a fornicator this morning, even if you are not a womanizer or an energizer this morning, even if you are not tempted to rob a bank this morning, this message is for everyone, because most people are tempted to give up. Giving up is also a temptation. Not coming to the house of God on a Sunday morning is a temptation. You wanting to cuss and blow your horns after a service because somebody blocked your car is a sin. But now that all of us understand the difference between temptation and sin, let me get to the subject matter this morning and pick it with a toothpick. The failure to see temptation and sin in other forms is the failure of God's people. Because God's people have failed to see when things are dangerous before they walk into danger. Michael Jackson had an album, not a photo album, an album comprising of many of his songs which sold millions of copies, I believe, one of the most popular CDs of all time. This was during the time I wanted to be a DJ, and I was training myself with Outburst Entertainers, and I had given my name and done all of that. And the title of the album was Dangerous. Remember this, most people walk into danger failing to recognize that something was dangerous. That is the difference between temptation and sin.